So the last question I have about content, Joe may have more, but the last question I have about content is, once somebody writes an article for you, what's your process after they turn it in? Do you go in, tweak it so it's more in your voice? Do you do anything else, or do you kind of trust your writers at that point to just publish the content?
Well, we 100% do not trust our writers to publish the content early on. We normally have operations people who do all the editing, publishing. I say editing, it's not traditional like copy editing, spelling and grammar. It's like we use a tool called Surfer SEO a lot these days it's really good at finding alternative keywords, which it does like correlation analysis with sites which are already ranking to see which secondary LSI keywords, whatever you want to call it, is in there. And then we'll add a few of those to the content. And then maybe if there's a featured snippet, we'll think about optimizing the code for that. If there's like a list that needs to go in there, and some of the images which we find it's really bad when writers source their own images. Either there's like copyright issues or they're just kind of bad. So we have operations people that do that. And then if it needs to be promoted in some way by email or on social media, or broken down into some Instagram stories or whatever, there's like other people that get roped into doing that. So we have a pretty slick process in Asana. It's like a task management system which we use. So when the writer ticks off that they've done it, upload or attaches the Google Doc to the Asana task, then it automatically kicks off a number of tasks for other people to create that content as well. And that's the only way we've been able to manage so much content with so few people, because back in the day, before we were somewhat organized like this, it was just a nightmare. You'd have someone's Excel document with someone else's Google sheet, and someone else just keeping a track of things in Notepad, and stuff just went all over the place, and we're forgetting to pay people and all sorts of stuff like that. So,
well, that's what's the beauty of what it sounds like what you're doing is you're front loading the systems, the processes. It's all very duplicatable. I mean, it's not like you're doing. You have 200 keywords you're giving them in the very beginning, and then so there's not going to be a mystery of what's going to actually show up on the site eventually. So I think it's brilliant because, anybody who even just manages one blog will start dropping the ball on all this stuff, let alone a whole bunch of them like you guys are.
Yeah. And the image thing is huge too. Like, make sure you're double checking the images. I remember one time we had a writer write something for us, used an image they found online, and then we got a bill from Getty Images for $800, and we're like,
mother,
damn it.
Yeah, we've had one or two of those before as well. Yeah,
I feel like if you're doing enough content, you're going to run into it eventually.
We try and use a site called Unsplash that's pretty good for royalty-free images. We picked up on AppSumo like a deal for deposit photos. A stock image comes up every so often, so we use that. But actually, what's working really well for us lately is Canva. So it's like a online, simpler, easier to use version of Photoshop that has a bunch of like stock imagery and stock parts to it. And so you can kind of create not just stock images, but like featured images with your title and other cool elements, like really, really easily. So that's been something we've been playing around with quite a lot lately as well.
For images, yeah. Well, I'm curious, still on the content vein and all this stuff, because you mentioned SEO a bunch of times. I know in like our research, you guys are big into just organic traffic. You have other traffic sources too, but and we're doing a ton in SEO, and we're actually currently just nerding out and optimizing like madmen, using, we use Ahrefs for pretty much everything. We're starting to use use Topic. I don't know if you ever,
I haven't used that. Fairly new one.
Usetopic.com. Yeah, check it out. It's more of like a contextual app that helps you refine your existing content so you can jump the ranks and all that stuff.
Well, what it basically does is you can plug in like a link to a blog post, and it will analyze all the posts on the front page that are similar, and then it'll tell you like other keywords to add into the mix and say like, hey, this one that's ranking first also talks about this, this, and this. Consider talking about this, this, and this in your content if you want to rank for these keywords. And it goes a little bit above and beyond what Ahrefs does in terms of like actually analyzing what's inside the content and telling you how to optimize the content. It's like Yoast SEO on steroids, I guess.
That's actually exactly what Surfer SEO does. It sounds like those two tools kind of have a bit of an overlap there. But yeah, it's worked. That approach has worked very well for us because Google knows what it wants. It's showing you what it wants by what's already ranking there. So the more elements of that you can bring into your content, the better. I want to caveat that by saying, like, don't just rip off and copy what's on page one, because I really do feel like with the prevalence of these kind of tools that there's perhaps a pull towards everything being the same and just like a different version rewriting what's ranking number one. So I always have to catch myself like not going too far down that route and still trying to come up with something somewhat unique.
Yeah, well, from a podcaster perspective, if you're going to like interview a guest, you can, let's say you're interviewing, I don't know, just for sake of ease, let's say you're going to interview Richard Branson, right? Well, you can Google Richard Branson, figure out all the most common questions people have about Richard Branson, and then when you interview him, make sure you ask those questions, put the transcripts on your blog post, and there's a good chance you're going to go, like for Richard Branson, you're going to climb the ranks because you're asking all the questions that are so commonly asked when people Google Richard Branson.
You got to give a shout out to Jurgen.
I love it.
Polymash, Jurgen and Polymash.
Yeah, that's Polymash, Jurgen.
Yeah. So got to give that shout out. But yeah, it's freaking brilliant. And Ahrefs, I know, does have like a questions tab. I was telling you that last night. But yeah.
We use the questions. We use Ahrefs. It's the best keyword tool by a country mile. And we use the questions tab in Keyword Explorer to find a lot of questions for actually doing link building opportunities. So a lot of the info-based content ideas there, they tend to have a lot of links already. So if you sort them in reverse order by keyword difficulty, KD, which is Ahrefs metric, which just basically tells you on a 0 to 100 scale the number of links pointing to sites ranking for that keyword, then you can do like skyscraper-based link building towards those content based around those keywords, and that's been huge for us over the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's another hack that we can start messing with.
Did you have something else on there?
I
wanted to talk about link building.
Well, yeah, SEO. I was curious about the process on these authority sites. I know you have Surfer SEO. You have the keywords kind of thought out. Like when you actually publish content, what does your process look like at that point? With that,
you mean in terms of link building?
Yeah, link building, or just really optimizing for traffic in general. Like, do you have Yoast in there as well? And
so basically, what you're asking is like when a blog post goes live, like what are the steps you follow to make sure it's optimized? Yeah.
Right. So actually, as we're writing the blog post, we will do some of these steps. So Surfer SEO has a sort of plugin essentially, which works with Google Docs, and as you're writing it, you can get this. So an editor can come in. So long before we publish it, there's a few of these steps we're already sort of taking. Once it's actually live and out there, most of the work from then, most of the on-page work is already done. We used to use Yoast last year, a couple years ago, 3 years ago. They had a bunch of issues. I actually forget what it was, but we've started using a tool called Rank Math. I forget singular or plural, but it's basically the same as Yoast, but it has all of the features which Yoast used to have for free, which you now have to pay for in Yoast. So if you're on a budget, it's a good one to go for.
Sweet. Okay.
So we do all our kind of technical meta description stuff like that on there. Then it's primarily a link building game for us.
So yeah, let's talk about that then. Yeah.
So on a site which is already kind of on its way up and has a number of articles, some traffic and stuff, we will do some internal link building. So that could either be just like looking at our inventory of content and seeing where would it make sense to link to. This is why having a full-time person in operations on your team that's like dedicated to helping out doing this kind of stuff comes in handy, because they know all the sites you're trying to put, the pages you're trying to push that are maybe top of page 2, bottom of page 1, that a few internal links can maybe push it up a bit. We have a process. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's something like, if you Google your own site, like site:authority hacker, and then like a topic, it will come up with, Google will present topics which, or pages which that topic is related to just on your site. And then that can serve as a way of identifying internal linking opportunities. But that's quite straightforward. The biggest chunk of work is on doing proper link building, like backlinks. And so we have a number of different processes which we'll do. Some of them are kind of site-wide. So we'll do like guest posting. We're doing a lot of helper reporter out, Haro.
Yep.
It's been really good for newish sites, just to get a lot of really high authority links. Plus, it's free to sign up to and join that newsletter as well. So get a lot of links like that in the early days. But specifically to content we're posting, often we'll let it sit for a little while and just see, is it going to rank naturally, and that will depend on competition. Or if we know it's going to be an uphill battle and it's like a long-term thing, we'll start link building immediately, trying to get deep links to that specific page. So whatever we're doing in guest posting at the time, we will, or skyscraper link building, we've done a lot of as well. Or things like this. I'm coming on your podcast, not really to build a link. It's more publicity and stuff. But there may be link building opportunities for things like that. Just any marketing activity that you're doing, anything you're contributing to your community, like look for a link. So we did one recently with. We use Asana a lot, as I was mentioning, for our processes. So we actually reached out to them and said, hey, we use Asana. Here's all the crazy advanced stuff we do with it. We've actually built some training for it in our course and stuff. We showed them it, and they're like, cool, we'd love to do a case study of you guys. So they interviewed us, and we're getting some publicity that way. And there's some links coming back from there. So you have to you just have to always be hungry for links, and everything you do, you need to think of as like, what is a link building opportunity? Where's the next one? How can I get my next link building fix? And then just as you're naturally doing promotional stuff for, real marketing for your business, you will come across numerous opportunities for that.